screen? Just making sure I'm sharing right. Can you see my screen okay? Perfect.
Looks great. Yep.
All right. Well, welcome to the 2022 Virtual Summer Institute Again conference. And we are the session just before lunch session, introducing our new MCIS 360. And we are super excited about rolling out this new responsive design platform. My name is Kristen Lane, and I am a program specialist with MCIS at the Minnesota Department of Ed. And my partner, Tracy Valentino, who is going to be helping me monitor the chat. And she will also put up any links and help me from getting too carried away. And sometimes I get excited and I talk pretty fast. I'm a youper, and so we get excited and we talk fast. So I'm going to try to keep it slow. And we should be able to cover everything and give you plenty of time to ask questions. I've heard such great things about this group. The ABE people have lots of good questions and good discussions. So looking forward to having some time at the end to really be able to answer questions and show you anything that you would like to see. I just heads up for my background a little bit that this is only my second year at MDE. So prior to being at the Department of Ed, I was a high school counselor at Buffalo High School for like 15 years. And then I've also have some experience as a school counselor in Saudi Arabia and Westminster, Colorado. So been around a little bit, and even further back was a special education teacher. And all the time MCIS has been with me because we are part of a multi-state consortium. So I have been using MCIS for about 25 years, and it really is my go-to career exploration tool when I was in the classroom and when working with individuals and their families. So over the past couple of weeks, we have been showing and working with ABE staff at MDE, particularly on the curriculum pieces. We've been also working with some curriculum directors and principals with MCIS 360. And I love that their first question has been like, how easy is this for my teachers? I'm like, yay, it's like music to my ears as an educator of 25 years. It's like the first time I've had actively engaged upper level decision makers like lead with like, how easy is this going to be used for my teachers? And I'm super excited to say that this new responsive design and taking 50 years of MCIS and putting it into a new sleeker design is like super exciting for me and very easy for you to use. MCIS 360 platform, if you're not familiar, is a comprehensive self-contained online career and post-secondary planning tool designed for learners to use independently. As well as it can be used guided by teachers. It's self-contained, completely online, and learners can navigate these lessons, again, 100% initially internally, but we also have printable options for some of the activities, so that hasn't gone away if you've used it in the past. Again, if you're not familiar with MCIS, a little bit of a backstory is we have been around for 50 years, like I said, and widely used in a variety of Minnesota institutions, K-12 schools, online schools, ABE programs, ABE, DOC, we're in the Department of Corrections, colleges, workforce centers, libraries. So really, pretty widespread. MCIS is housed at the Department of Ed, and we operate as a nonprofit. So we keep relatively nominal fees. We do everything we do collect goes back into improving our MCIS platform, providing training and customer support. So we're not making any profits off our site. Everything is here to make MCIS work for Minnesotans. And the other thing you can count on right now is that we are 100% SOPA compliant, which has become a huge top priority for a lot of districts and institutions as the explosion of online resources has come up since COVID. And so just want to know data privacy, we are compliant with SOPA. So yay for that front too. I'm going to kind of turn my head. I did my hair special on the right-hand side for you, but I'm going to be looking at my screen and my camera's a little bit different. So I'm going to be turning a little bit to start the presentation part of it. And I want to just show you how we can log in. If you've used Enterprise, which we call our old version now, is called Enterprise. It's going to be sunsetted in fall of 2024. So we're really working on helping sites transition into 360, because that will be all that's available starting fall of 2024. And many sites, as we've been showing them 360, are just jumping in and wanting to use it full time. So there seems to be
Kristen, we just lost your audio. Tracy, can you hear her? No.
I cannot. Hey, Kristen, I wonder if she completely dropped out of all of
Okay.
it.
I am going to mute her and let you talk for a moment while we figure that out.
Okay, so again, like Kristen was kind of talking about, or is still talking about, she's showing our login page where you can either log in to the enterprise version, which is the one some of you might be familiar with, or you can do it from the MCIS 360. The green tab will bring you to log in right to 360. I think she sees that she's muted right now, Kristen. I don't know if I can manage. There we go. Okay, I still can't hear you. Uh-oh. Is it okay to pause the recording?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, just so we don't.
Sorry about that. There we go. So I'm going to log into the 360 side. All right, so there we go. I'm super excited. This is when you log into MCIS 360, you're going to land right on the dashboard. And the dashboard is just a really great spot where all of their saved learners saved favorites, survey results, and reports can be quickly seen. And all of these are links to any of their favorited or saved items, so they can, if they want to go into careers, they can click right to the career profile for an accountant and an auditor, or go back to their programs of study or scholarships or schools. And if they're new, this is our demo site, so we have saved a few things. So if you're logging into your account, you may not see as many things if you haven't been saving a lot. So here in the little pencil icon up at the top, you can see when something was saved, and then it can be deleted here. So just a nice landing navigation page called My Dashboard. And then the next place over is where the self-surveys results can be shown. And this is going to show the most recent self-surveys. All these results are displayed in a brief graphic format, making it really easy for learners to see their results. For many of the self-surveys, they'll be ranking items based on how much they like or dislike an activity, whether they agree or disagree with a statement. And all these self-surveys are also available in Spanish. They can click into any of the icons up at the top. So we can click in, for example, the career cluster inventory, and they can go and see their full results. So a lot more colorful if you've been on the enterprise side. So added a lot of color, a lot more directing links, but still the same intuitive design where you can take a self-survey, end up on career clusters that you're interested in, click onto those clusters, and then lead into finding more information about particular careers and linking to options for studying. So like going into finding college programs where they could look up potentially certificates or diplomas or bachelor's degrees or graduate work. So can link right from information to getting training as it had an enterprise version. Okay, then the next, let me see. Oh, and they can also start over. I guess I should have said in the survey results, they can also start over any result when they were in there. There's a little pencil icon here where they can see all their answer sets, and they can restore those answers. They can make some notes, and they can also delete any old self-survey answer sets. So self-surveys, if you've used Enterprise, I'm trying to talk two languages here. So if you've been in the old version, these were called the assessments, and we renamed them self-surveys just because they're more accurate description. I always felt like assessments kind of could produce some anxiety, like I'm being tested, there's a score I'm supposed to get, when really in fact these self-surveys are just really checking in and seeing what people's thoughts are, how they feel, defining their values, identifying their skills and those things that they like to do and dislike to do. So there's really no perfect answer. And so the self-surveys are much better because that name is just more appropriate and correctly labeling what they're doing. So these results, I'm going to pop back in there again really quick. They can, this is the interest profiler just to see how they'll look a little differently. So their top 2 interests using the Holland codes will appear at the top. There's a nice colorful pie chart. We're just trying to make them much more engaging. They can click into conventional, for example, and then it links then to those careers that would align with being more people that are interested in working with procedures and routines and being more conventional. And they can go into those profiles and explore. They can go back to their results, and they can also export into a PDF. So if you want somebody to turn in something as evidence, you could, they could print it out as a PDF. All right. And that last little area on the next area is the reports. And here, if you want to run a big report, you could have users click in any of the boxes of what you'd like to see a report on. Maybe you want a list of their careers and how they might be doing on a plan. And I'll show you those plans in a minute. And it just kind of populates into a nice export PDF that it can be printed or it can be shared electronically. So here's a copy of that report, just a nice little summary. There's a lot of white space. We're working on trying to smush those together so they don't give so much space in between. So a couple things in 360 are still being worked on, but they're just little minor pieces, like trying to clean up that report and shorten up that piece of it so that it's a little bit easier to look at. Next over is this best career matches, and this I really like. This is a new feature, and it shows up to 10 careers that are the best match based on their anything saved from their favorites and all of the self-survey results that they've taken. If they haven't taken any self-surveys yet, then they are prompted to take some self-surveys so they can click in and see directly what an agricultural engineer does and go to a career profile on an agricultural engineer, or they can explore career clusters. I always think for working with older students and adults, career clusters is sort of that big general topic. I feel like adults, I would target more towards specific careers. Okay, and then next over, I'm going to kind of hop up to this navigation bar. So that was the dashboard. And then up here is the navigation bar. I'm going to skip the PEP for a minute. This is where all the curriculum is. So I'll come back to that because that'll help you connect to all the other awesome stuff that's in here. So looking at self-surveys, these again are the assessments, previously called the assessments tab. And here learners can select the self-surveys that they want to complete or the ones that you want to assign to them in the PEP. So I'll show quickly the work importance locator. I feel like as we get older and realize after a few work experiences, I feel like we're able to define to be more aware of our values and figure out where we get our enjoyment from work and where it comes from and aligning that with our values. So taking the work importance locator, we'll ask, there's always going to be instructions for every one of the self-surveys, and they put everything to emojis, and they can kind of rank then. I could be busy all the time. If that's you, like I love to be busy all the time. It's asking you to put in rank and prioritize these. And I'm just going to look at the results really quickly. just to give you what. Oh, I can't go to that one results one very quickly there. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Sorry, I forgot I have to go all the way through that one. But showing the results is kind of a cool one for this one. Overclicked, work importance locator. So what's kind of nice is it will look at your top values. So you like recognition. So when I did this on the demo, clicked through and did recognition and liking support. And then again, you can find those occupations that align with those. And so for adults, and older students had really liked using this, because then you are looking for jobs where you hopefully are, and you're more mature, able to look at what values you have and then really aligning those with different occupations. All of these self-surveys were created in intuitive design. So like I showed you, they can learners can navigate from their survey results to a career and learn more about a career, and then go from the career to finding the education that they may need to, pursue that career. And we encourage people to take these self-surveys multiple times over time and experiences. Sometimes their ideas change, or they maybe at different places put different input into those questions. So they can be taken multiple times and saved. So that's really a cool feature. I'm going to click over now to the careers tab, which is next on the navigation bar. And on this page, we'll find the careers and the military careers indexes. The career index will have over 580 different careers and emerging careers and 16 career clusters. You can look by cluster view. And again, I find this a little bit easier with like younger students. I tended to like going right to titles for working with my older students and adults, but it's flexible either way. All of this career information comes from ONET, the database, and is rewritten at an 8th grade reading level, and is written in with less technical terms, so that it's easier to read. They also created a lot of graphs and charts. Let's just peek in. I'm talking about it. I should just show you. So if you've used Enterprise, here we go. We got lots of really cool color. Again, they will have rewritten information. So it's just easier. We've done I would say they really Maria Kondo'd everything and really simplified, put things into bullet points and made them pretty short and boxed them up so that they are easy to find versus the big topics lists that we used to have. Every career profile, so we're looking at accountants and auditors, will have a video, short video. I kind of liken them to like a little job shadow video where it will show the tasks that that career would be doing, like accountants would be doing, and then the different environments that accountants would maybe be working in. They're about like 1 to 2 minutes. They're not very long. Saving to favorite and save their careers, they can hit this little thumbs up. Thumbing it up will save it. Unthumbing it up will delete it off of their dashboard. All right. So on this landing page, they can get more information about wages, educational training, employment opportunities. Clicking into those headers, there's the job descriptions. And here they can get some overview of the job, the work setting information. So these are just nice, shorter pieces than what we've had in the past. And the responsive design, like where this works great on cell phones, tablets, is that I kind of use my screen here to show you, is that whether they're working on a desktop or a cell phone, oops, I'm going to unclick there so you don't get all that blue, it will stack up. So if someone's on a cell phone, all of these files and menus will stack up so that it's very easy to use on a cell phone, because especially for adults, most likely if they're trying to access information, they're a great material of the time on their cell phone. So that's where we have made this really user-friendly. Also, for screen readers, the new responsive design really helps being able to be more accessible for people needing screen readers. The wage data is set up so that you can see very quickly on any career what the entry wage, medium wage, and experienced wage would be for somebody in this career. And with MCIS, we break it down into regions. And I sometimes, especially with working with students, found that annual salaries can be a little tough to understand, so you can switch it to hourly as well. All right, and we just have a few more minutes, so I'm going to kind of cruise through. I'm sorry we got shorted with my audio issue, but clicking through, we also have then employment outlook. I like this personal qualities. This is new, and it really lines up people with what their interests are based on those interests and values, the self-surveys that they took, and really kind of aligns closer to different careers. Related careers will give them additional careers to look at that are similar in nature to the one that they're looking at, so they can kind of expand. Under education, we have several tabs to look at. They can look at programs of study, which is really similar to the career index, so they can view programs of study either in cluster form or by title. And then this is looking at, so programs of study are majors. They can look at individual majors, which will look very similar to the career profile, giving information on what an accounting major would be. If you're in DOC, this link will not work for you guys because you can't link out, but what in-state schools offer this program of study. So this would be something that once an inmate is released, they can click in here and look for actual schools that will have the programs that they're looking for. Also in the education tab are the schools. All of the colleges are listed here. We start with the in-state in Minnesota, and we update these every year. As far as Tracy and I update all the Minnesota schools, so you're getting yearly updated information. And here we are also adding the pictures of our campuses for our Minnesota colleges, and here you'll see what a profile of a college looks like. And if you're in DOC, this you can see, so all of your learners are able to access this information and see what schools have. There's these short videos. There are these 360 videos that the colleges are making so that they're like a campus tour. They can save this school and put it to their favorites list, and there'll be just some general information, student life, so they can look at different activities or services they may want to get involved in, information on applying, paying for school, linking to financial aid, and then a list of their programs of study that they have at that college. Also in the education tab, we have a scholarship database. Again, keeping those indexes very similar. They will default to our Minnesota in-state scholarships. There is a search bar in each of these areas. I should have showed this one earlier, but they have a filter. So these filters act as little sorts, so they can kind of look and see if they want to apply for scholarships that maybe are relevant now. They could do a search on any that have deadlines that haven't passed. They can look at what kind of requirements they might have. We have about 3,500 scholarships in here, and they are awarded for a variety of ages. So they are not just for high school students. Many of them are spanning or are not specific to a grade level. So we update all of the Minnesota scholarships yearly as well and verify that they're all still viable. We also link to the Minnesota's registered apprenticeship program. So if you're trying to look for an apprenticeship program in your area as a part of their training, for example, we can pop into Anoka. You can look up by county. You can look up by industry, pick manufacturing. They can choose a specific occupation. And then the sort will help them find apprenticeship programs that are registered, their employer information, the location, and then the specific occupation that they're looking to do apprenticeships for. They can click into details so that they can contact and reach out to the apprenticeship program. and get lined up. I always felt apprenticeships were a little tricky to find unless I had a student whose parent was in the union or they knew somebody. So this was really helpful for me to direct people to getting apprenticeship training. We also have short-term training. And the registered apprenticeships in the short-term training might also, those will not link out for DOC programs. Once inmates are released, then they will have different access to MCIS, and they will then have access to all these links. They just won't have them while they are incarcerated. So here, this will be the short-term training. Here we can link to the Office of Higher Ed has short-term training programs throughout the state where they are licensed and accredited, and they're programs that are typically between a couple weeks and just a few months. And so they can look them up by institution and by location. And that covers the education tab. I'm going to go over and slide to the employment tab. And here in the employment tab is a resume builder. And this is really a slick tool where learners can input all their information into those traditional headers. So they can put in, for example, experience, if they've volunteered, they can click into volunteer, and there's all these fillable text boxes. And they just have to fill in that information. And then as they fill out all those headers, there's a resume builder, which will snap all of their information into one of these two styles and lay out in a really nice format that can then be downloaded into a Word document or a CVS file, into several different formats so that they can upload them into the online job application programs that a lot of companies are using. And so just very flexible. So one of the great benefits of MCIS is that your learners' accounts are sustainable, meaning that as long as you maintain your MCIS license, they will have access to their account. And so really nice, especially for adults as you're changing and wanting to do your resume. I thought it was really handy because then you're not like, where's that resume? And I saved it and I sent it, and where is it in this file? It was nice when I applied for the Department of Ed because I still had my resume stuff that I had started 20 years ago when I was in Idaho. So just really nice to be able to have access to that at all times. The cover letter, this is new, so they created a cover letter writing tool as well. So very similar to the resume writer, it helps put it in a format, and then that way it's saved and it will always be in their account. And then we have a link to the National Labor Exchange. Again, this will be one that DOC will not have access to while they're in, but once they've been exited, they are going to have access through their their other MCIS account that they'll be assigned to. The NLX is the National Labor Exchange, and we default to Minnesota. So they can look up, this might be dangerous, but you can look up any job, teacher, for example, and in Minnesota right now, there's 1,161 jobs that are available. So if you're teaching about how to look at job postings and how to help people kind of like decide, I know sometimes when you read postings, you're like, well, I don't meet every criteria, and sometimes you don't need to. So kind of like talking people through, like, when do you line up? What do these postings look like? What are they looking for? This is kind of a nice spot to look for. These are current 2-day opportunities for people to work and live postings. Okay, so all of this good fun stuff, which I'm really excited about, and is very similar to Enterprise if you've been on it, but the way to deploy and get, it's very engaging, and learners can definitely engage with any of these tabs. If you want to sort of assign and be in control as an educator, we have what's called this PEP, or the PEP, and working with ABE staff, we are working on some default checklists for your sites to have, and currently we have 4 kind of in your areas. Well, the landing page will have for prep for employment. So these are I'll show you real quick. These are the 4 areas than I just did an all activities one that I created, but the 4 areas that prep for employment, training options, career exploration, and self-discovery were sort of those 4 areas that ABE breaks down that for career exploration. So in the middle, when they land, it'll be prepare for employment or whatever one they're working on. It'll have, there's a total of 4 activities, and this is just a summary of where they are on these activities. And again, this is our demo site. It'll show all of the summaries of the additional plans that they've been assigned to. So let's look at prepare for employment, for example. And here can look at what some of the tasks are, so you can direct your learners to go right to the resume. So it's a way of like focusing them into the tasks you want to do. These are very customizable, so you can call this like Unit 1, Unit 2. You can number these, they are editable. These are defaults, so you can, each site can create their own. These were just, like I said, the state default ones. They're the same as the basis of the checklist that were in there for enterprise. So they are aligned with those. So find jobs, this would be an activity that directs them then to the career index, and then has them look at some directions on finding a job. Informational interview guide. So this will help them. We need to complete some of these tasks in here. This is our demo model I wanted to show you. Okay, here we go. I should have jumped into training. So in training, for example, I'll pop into this training plan. If it's green, it means it's been completed and it's got a check mark. If it's gray, it has not been done yet. So for example, this training options, it will point to the career index itself. There are directions up here that you can edit. You can also add your own URLs and customize the directions for these sections. There are these what are called FAQs. So school FAQs, if you've used the enterprise version, I always felt like it was Pandora's box in some of those big information files, and it was like file upon file upon file. So we, like, again, really try to Maria Kondo it and get to like, what do people really need to know about schools, and kind of make it more digestible. Like, for example, I really like the financial aid FAQs. We have links to things like the FAFSA, going to the scholarships and directing people in those directions. We, for the sake of time, I'll just show you very quickly. These are all activities. So there are about 50 activities that you can pick from. We tried to keep those other lists like very short in those plans and manageable. And again, they're customizable. So we put the all activities up there. ABE staff at MDE thought this would be nice because then it's easy for you to see what each of these activities looks like. So for the career cluster inventory, for every self-survey, there is going to be a reflection activity. So that can be really helpful. If you want to add those, I took them out when we did the preliminary plans, but you can definitely add those back in. I think sometimes we don't often reflect enough. We do a lot, but we don't reflect enough. But some teachers will talk through that. If you're in a classroom setting, that's kind of a nice token to be able to set to kind of talk through. So again, these plans can be easily for you to customize. You can direct people to where you want to go. The support materials for kind of getting these set up and some additional support materials are currently being housed on the enterprise side. So that's one other thing in 360. It's pretty much ready to go, but the portal page where we log in is needing to get updated. And then the where we go to build plans will need to get updated. But I'm going to pop over navigating between the two. Right now, all your sites can navigate between enterprise and 360. So by hitting that little button that I did, brings you to the site administrator page. Hopefully you all will have or will get staff accounts so that you can create your own reports and create your own plans. But really nice, these buttons let you go back to the student side for 360. You can go to enterprise, toggle back. And on enterprise, we're going to go over to the CIS side to show you where some of the materials are. These materials are housed here until we get our portal page finished up, which I'm hoping is this fall. Minnesota materials down in the black footer. We have materials for the enterprise side, and we also have added 360 resources. So here we have PDFs on how to navigate MCIS. Those are nice to help plan out. We also have how to create your own plans. Really easy. Tracy did a nice job shortening that up and making it nice and tight. And again, we're here, part of your fees, pay for our help to build those and get those done for your site. If you want to use paper, we have all of the those activities on PDF or Word document right now so that you can edit them. We also have how-to videos. So here's just a brief navigation introduction to MCIS. So a lot of schools make a custom activity and that be their first video. So they link it and make sure that everybody's looking through to figure out how to navigate new MCIS 360, as well as some of our component areas. What I appreciate most, I think, over the years with MCIS is that the collaboration between MCIS and Minnesota educators, stakeholders, continually helps us to improve MCIS. And so, you know, as you're working with MCIS, please be aware we want your feedback and let us know how we can keep making this experience better for you and your learners, because you know, when we do better, we all do better. And Tracy will put a link in the chat to our summer refreshers. Summer refreshers ended today. We will be putting a link to our training tab where we have our fall trainings will be posted soon. So we have that. When you log out, I can show it to you. We have a training tab and we will be updating that very soon with all of our fall trainings. We'll be doing some online and some in person. So if your site wants some in-person ones, you might want to request those quickly. Tracy will put Tracy will put our team email in so that if you're interested in on-site training, we can do that. We also do webinars and we can do virtual trainings in person. And then we are going to just have some set webinar trainings for you as well. And so I really appreciate that flexibility that MCIS has given me as a school counselor, and we want to just keep making it and building it to be better. I'm just going to check in the chat. Are there any questions or anything anybody wants to see?
I think I've answered most, but Kristen, if you're done with your presentation, we can maybe stop the recording if people want questions with the last couple minutes.
Yep,